A channel read-along for 2025 has been decided. Lots of fun updates this week, lots of reading, lots of music and film. Let's talk about the week ending November 4th, 2024. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the newly released psychological horror film, Dead Whisper. So I always love doing these reading roundups. It's one of my favorite segments on the channel because it allows me to connect with you and kind of let you know kind of what I've read and what I've been kind of exploring book-wise, what's happened in my music life and film and TV life, and then also to hear about your weeks and to hear about the books that you've been reading, because I always love to keep this channel fluid. And it is really a great opportunity for us to kind of share the books that we love and kind of put more on our already massive and growing TBR list. So without further ado, if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. It always helps out the channel. And let's dive right into what I read. So I started off the week reading a little bit. I didn't make much progress on this, but I always take the dust jackets off when I read behemoth books like this because, you know, you're holding it for long periods of time. I didn't want to kind of like mess up the covers. And I just love the Michael Whelan paintings on this. And of course, I'm talking about Stormlight Archive, Book 4, Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this particular book is a more contested entry, I think, in comparison to the other entries in the series, because it really goes into the technological aspects, the kind of evolution of the characters. And it is really heavy on the magic systems and the science. You know, this is something Brandon Sanderson does really well, honestly. But I do feel like he kind of takes it up a notch in this book. And it's also a setup book for book 5, which is going to be the final book in the first arc of the 10-book Stormlight Archive series. And that's coming out on December 6th. So, you know, I figured I should do a reread of this. I'd kind of forgotten a lot of stuff. I think the other 3 entries to me personally were more memorable than this one. I gotta say, 150 pages in, barely a dent, but I'm loving the ride so far, and I think this is one that if you read before and you want to kind of do a Cosmere catch-up in anticipation for that last book that comes out in December, definitely don't slouch on this one. Like, I would consider rereading it. I know it's kind of an ambitious thing to reread, but even skimming through, I think you're going to find that on the second read, it is actually a lot better as your expectations get tempered. So, having a blast with this so far. And then I also kind of picked up The Prophet of Edan, Book 2 of the Edan trilogy by Philip Chase, Booktube's very own Philip Chase. Fantastic Booktube channel. If you haven't checked it out, I'm linking him down below, as I always do with the people I mention, and also linking these books down below as well, so you could check it out and purchase a copy if you so choose. So, wonderful guy, really interesting philosophical approach to fantasy, I think, in terms of both his channel, like the topics that he covers, which I love personally, and then also within the pages of his series. Now, one thing I'm really loving about the Edan series is, like, it really talks about religious extremism and how it could be used to manipulate the masses in a fantasy setting. This second book, I mean, I'm already 60% of the way through this book, and it's no slouch, you know, it's like 600-700 pages. And I'm just loving the character growth in this. I feel like I'm connecting even more with the characters than I did the last time. And I always, you know, I felt like it wasn't hard to remember all the characters' names, which is no small feat in fantasy. I think Philip's prose is phenomenal in this book. I think it really, like, in the first book, I loved his prose, but I feel like it's even a step above in the second book. So I'm having a blast with it so far. And if you haven't read Philip Chase's The Edan trilogy, definitely check it out. I think it's going to be right up your alley if you like traditional fantasy, but kind of done in a different way. There are chosen one tropes. There are other kind of tropes that, you know, you'd see in traditional fantasy, but it's done in a way that feels fresh and unique. And that's a very difficult balance to strike. And you could tell Philip Chase is a lover of the genre, you know, and it shows in the pages. You know, I think when people read as much as they do, it shows in their writing, you know, and this is definitely evident in this. So very excited to talk to Philip Chase about this. Make a formal announcement about that when we get a chance to, you know, once it gets closer to that date. But very excited to continue down this path of the Dan trilogy and read the third book next month. So this will definitely be something I'm finishing this week. And then the last book that I kind of started, I didn't get too much into, but it's a read-along actually with Fright Club, which is a Discord channel run by Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems and Crits from Crits Read. And fantastic channels, both of them, and they specialize in horror content. And this book is called The Night Parade by Ronald Malfi. So really interesting kind of a book so far. I'm only like maybe 3 chapters in or so, but it's definitely got the kind of eerie, where are these characters, why are they going to a particular destination, what are the motivations. It kind of plants you right in the middle of the action. And so it's kind of nice because, you know, when you're reading 2 fantasy books at a time that have a complex world building and lore, it's nice to read something that's more of a kind of a quicker pace as a nice contrast. At least for me, like, I know I love contrasts. You know, I don't love reading like 4 fantasy books at the same time or something like that, you know, without having something else to kind of balance things out. So that really helps. I'm excited to continue on that. And if you haven't joined that Discord channel, or you haven't heard of these channels, I'm linking them all down below. Discord channel's lovely. People are just so wonderful there. So definitely check that out and join that read along. It's not too late if you so choose. But that's kind of what I read. So what am I going to read this week? I'm going to continue on with this behemoth, Stormlight, of course. I'm going to finish The Prophet of Idan by Philip Chase, and I'm going to kind of work my way through Night Parade slowly but surely. I think Night Parade by Ronald Malfi and The Rhythm of War are going to be the 2 books that I'm going to be kind of taking a little bit more time and spreading them out throughout the month. But I want to slot something else in there, of course. And that is none other than my favorite author of all time, the shelf dedicated to the man back here, and that is, of course, Stephen King. Now, I'm doing a buddy read with, of course, Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems, and this is Fairy Tale. So this is one of his newer entries. If you haven't heard about it, it's interesting because it's got like a coming-of-age story, and then it also has a fantastical realm story, and the 2 kind of converge. And it's really interesting how he does that. I'm kind of doing a reread. I had read it really fast in like a couple days when it first came out. And I feel like I enjoyed it, but I don't think I got as much out of it as I would like to. And similar to Rhythm of War, I felt like, this deserves another reread, you know? So I'm excited to kind of go down that path with Cliff. And we're going to be starting that. So going to be reading that this week as well. So let's talk a little bit about kind of channel updates and things like that. A lot has happened. So we are now at 708 subscribers. So wonderful to hear that people are wanting to join in on this little community that we're building here. We do have a brand new Discord as well. I'm linking that down below as well. And we have a bunch of people there talking about different books, different genres, and things like that. My channel has always been a little bit different maybe than a lot of booktuber channels. They kind of focus on the genre and things like that, which is great. I think that's wonderful. I just love so many genres. I think it's like hard for me to focus on one. And so I'm like, rather than trying to focus on one, I would rather just do what I do. And if people like that and they want to join in and they want to hear about more, you know, books that I think are great and, you know, vice versa, that's wonderful. And we can create a positive community together. So I always like to stay positive on this channel, and I appreciate you all being here. And I'm excited to see what comes up next in the coming months. And speaking of in the coming months, I have announced our winner of the 2025 official channel read along. So if you want to know more information about that, that video is up here. And that is none other than Malazan, Book of the Fallen, the 10-book series by Steven Erikson, developed by Steven Erikson and Ian Esselmont. A world that is very complex, has a lot of characters, a lot of lore, hundreds of thousands of years of history, continents, different continents, and it kind of charts this whole arc of the Malazan Empire. It's got a lot of philosophy in it. It's got a lot of kind of grimdark aspects to it. Brilliant, thought-provoking series. I've read the first 2 books. Of course, I'm going to do a reread of those alongside you guys as we start in January. The full schedule for that, more information about Malazan, and also the book series that didn't get chosen are going to be in that video. So definitely check that out because, you know, people chimed in after that video saying, oh, yeah, I'm excited to read Malazan. You know, I'd also chosen XYZ. Well, fear not, my friends. There are plans for those other series as well. So definitely check out that video, and I think you're going to like what you see there. So very excited to do our channel read along. This is something I've dreamt about doing ever since, you know, I've been watching Booktube 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, one day I'll do a Booktube channel. I would love to have a channel read along and kind of develop a community of my own. So this is just a wonderful kind of milestone moment for the channel and for myself personally. And I'm just grateful that, so many of you have decided to join in. And there's plenty of time. We're going to start in January, so got a couple months to get the books if you so choose, get them from the library, get them on Kindle, whatever works for you. And I am also working on getting some special guests, so more announcements on that coming soon as well. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the channel videos for the coming week. So I am going to be doing an October wrap-up video. Now, I kind of missed the wrap-ups on the last couple months because, I don't know, I was just kind of not sure if there was going to be some redundancy of content, between the weekly update reading roundups and then, of course, the monthly wrap-ups. So I was like, maybe I'll skip it. But I really feel actually there's something to add to the mix in the October wrap-up. So I really wanted to do one properly, and maybe going forward I will keep doing them. So let me know also in the comments if you would prefer to see a monthly wrap-up, because I just don't want to make redundant content on the for the sake of fulfilling out the channel. I want to always provide value to you all, and I want you to feel like you're getting something new every time. So let me know in the comments, this is our channel. I'm just the steward of the channel, just the guardian of the channel. So let me know what you think, you guys, and I would love to just take your feedback into account. So that is going to be the first video. The second video I'm going to be putting up is an adaptation news episode 3. So now there's more adaptation news coming down the pike, as it always starts to do towards the end of the year. So I want to keep you updated, and also some of the projects I'd mentioned in the previous adaptation news updates have kind of moved a little bit forward. So I want to let you guys know about that. So for those of you who are new, this is kind of a brand new segment. Basically, since I'm a composer for film, television, and gaming, and I specialize in book adaptations quite a bit, having worked on The Wheel of Time, His Dark Materials, and stuff like that. So I'm privy to a lot of information that maybe people don't necessarily know where to look to get that information, It's public, but people don't necessarily know where to find it, and they're not necessarily tracking each project the way I am, right? So I can give you a little bit more of a bird's eye view of where these things are day to day, and also give you some context, if something doesn't feel like it's moving along, why? Why could that possibly be? And I can speak from some real world experience. So that's been an insanely popular segment actually on the channel. So I'm looking forward to doing another video of that. And also lastly, a few of you have asked me hey, what kind of music do you listen to when you read? And sometimes I like having some ambient music in the background. So I figured I could do a whole video talking about the role of music in books and stuff like that, and I'll probably do that at a later date. But for now, I wanted to just provide some more value to you all and put together a playlist of music that I typically listen to that is kind of more ambient, maybe fantasy specific, genre specific, whatever it is, when I'm reading specific genres of books. So I'll put together that playlist and I'll put it in a community post. It'll be on my channel as well, so you can check that out if you would so choose. So that's kind of the goals for this coming week in the channel. And then let's talk a little bit about, lastly, the music and film front. I'm kind of changing the name of the segment because my role in film and TV is kind of evolving as well. So first of all, the AARP Diwali advertisement that I think I mentioned to you in a previous weekly update. I've been working on some music for that, and that was finally released, and I think it's got 40,000 views or something like that. It's really nice to see a lot of people seeing that for, enjoying the music and the kind of dance choreography that was built around the music campaign the music that I wrote for it. It kind of blends traditional Indian music, but then also with Western cinematic strings and horns and everything. So kind of making it more a confluence of different cultures. So that was really fun. I'm posting a link down below in case you all are curious to hear the music and check it out for yourselves. But just a short ad kind of celebrating the Festival of Lights, which is a huge holiday in India. The second thing was very interesting as well, because I think I mentioned to you all I'm a composer, but lately I've also started kind of having my role evolve on different film projects that I've been a part of. So I formed a production company with a couple friends of mine, Connor Susi, who's the director and co-writer of this particular project in question, and then also Ben Grant, who's a phenomenal cinematographer. And so this particular production company, we worked on shooting over the last couple of days a horror short film, proof of concept for a feature called The Conduit. Kind of a seance gone wrong thing, but using different 1950s technology. Really interesting kind of almost like an espionage aspect to the film as well. So we filmed it over 2 days at a mansion in Pasadena, and it is like all built in the 1920s, gorgeous location. And I was a producer on this film, and I'm also going to be composing on it. So it was really, really great being able to help run the team during the set and making sure everyone had what they needed. And the actors did a phenomenal job. Connor and Ben just knocked it out of the park. Everyone, down to the G&E team, like everybody put their all into this project, and I cannot wait to show you stills. I can't show them just yet, but as it gets closer to the release, and we already kind of have some distribution channels for release scheduled for that short film. So I'll keep you all posted when that all comes out. But the next stage is going to be composing. So I'm going to try to rest here and there as I can. But this week is going to be a busy music week as well. So we'll see how that actually works out. But I worked like 13-hour days on Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, I'm pretty tired. But that's what coffee is for, of course. And I'm going to try to sneak in some reading here and there. So it's going to be a fun week, but let me know about your week. Like, let me know what fun things happened to you this week. It doesn't even have to be about the books, but it can always be about the books. So, feel free to comment below. Don't be shy. If you've never commented before, just so you know, I rarely just go like, oh, thanks for watching or something like that. For me, it's all about dialogue. So I'll ask you questions too. I'd love to know more about you. And I think that's, the way great friendships form. And I've formed many friendships on this channel. And I think, I'd like to say the same for the people who have joined in on those discussions, both on the channel and the Discord. So please don't be shy. Please say hi, and we'd love to have you in any capacity that you're comfortable with. So with that, I'm Nick Hill with Shelf-Esteem. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I will see you on the next video releasing on Wednesday. Take care.